Welcome to CraftLit, the podcast for crafters who love books. My name is Heather Ordover, and I'm podcasting from where the Delaware River meets the Old York Road, New Hope, Pennsylvania. Episode 69B, Interlude. I got flattened this week. I haven't been able to get out of bed. I am not recording like normal, but that's okay because all y'all came through for me. I have 3 different voicemails that I am going to share with you and 1 email. And the first voicemail comes from Judith.
Hi, Heather. This is Judy from Illinois again. I've so been enjoying Emma. And this last episode where you played the little scene from Clueless just touched my heart. When my daughter was in middle school, Clueless was her absolute favorite movie. She literally watched it every single day. She would watch half of it until her brother came home, and she'd watch the second half the next day. To this day, she's 40 years old now. She can still quote virtually every line in the movie. She tried showing it to her teenage stepdaughter, who didn't find it quite as fascinating as she did. But listening to that scene just brought back such memories. And if people have not watched Clueless, they really should, just because it's fun to see what somebody did with a modern take on it. Thanks for doing what you do, Heather, especially when you've not been feeling the best for so long. We love you. Bye-bye.
So, Judith, I completely agree with your daughter. I loved Clueless when it came out. I have not watched it nearly as obsessively as she has, but I've always enjoyed it. And in fact, for movie watch night, which is going to be our watch party over on Patreon in September, we are going to be watching Aisha, which is the Bollywood version of Emma from 2010. So I'm very excited about that. But yes, I know, Clueless was just a really, really smart updating and modernization. And I think I mentioned even on a podcast that I've been reading Austen in Post-Colonial Land scholarly book, and the chapter on Clueless is just charming because they did try and Amy Heckerling did try and modernize it and did a pretty good job. All right, our next voicemail is from Trisha, and that will be followed by me reading our voicemail from Irina. Here we go.
Hi, this is Trisha in the Boston area, and I was thinking about how frustrating we find Emma versus a lot of Austen's other characters. Usually, like in Pride and Prejudice, you kind of want to see yourself as that character, but you really don't want to see yourself as Emma, or I don't think any of us do. And I wonder how much of that is the difference in Austen's age when she wrote them. When she wrote Pride and Prejudice, she was younger, she was closer to that age of the characters, and was probably less aware of how little they know about life at that age. Whereas Emma's character, it feels a lot more like looking at, personally, my nieces and nephews who are in that age range where you're kind of like, yeah, you're just kind of nodding and smiling and being like, you youngin'. So, just an observation. Have a good day.
All right, so I wanted to go from Trisha's voicemail into this email from Irina because they're very related. So Irina wrote, "Dear Heather, for more than a month, I've tried to get enough courage to call and leave a voicemail, but finally decided to write. I probably had to make a script for a voice message anyway. Next time you should call. You have a lovely voice." She writes, "Thank you for Emma. I'm enjoying the journey immensely. I read the book a few times and I watched various productions, but it's nice to slow down and look at each chapter leisurely. And because of that, I am definitely noticing more details, and that is what causes this particular train of thoughts. First, it occurred to me how modern are the problems and challenges that Emma faces compared to many other Austenian heroines. She doesn't need to find a good match. In fact, the decision of whom to even marry seems to be completely her own. She manages, quite competently, her household and has a lot of freedom in making decisions. Moreover, she's surrounded by people, men and women, who respect and support her. What she struggles with is the lack of life experiences, the ability to read people's motivations and intentions, and some overconfidence in her ability. Pretty much what all of us go through at a certain age. I wonder if this modernity is what makes Emma so irritating for so many people. It hits a little too close to home. And continuing this line of thought, I realize Emma appears to be quite a feminist in how the female characters in this book handle themselves. For example, Jane Fairfax does not try to find a good match to settle down, but rather she is currently preparing to embark on an undesirable career to support herself. And how many current college grads face that same issue? I hope they aren't all going into the same kind of situation that Jane Fairfax is looking at, but yes, I feel you. And then she writes, finally, I am wondering if in Emma, Jane Austen shows us her ideal for female life and destiny. She does not make Emma perfect, but she allows her to be free and independent and intelligent and respected. Everything most women don't really have and didn't really have at that time and age. The focus of the book is mostly on Emma's growth as a person, from the moment she steps into a bigger world, as her brother-in-law states at some point. In fact, Emma's love story is not that important. And even if it were removed, I don't think it would spoil anything for the readers, although I do like happy endings, so I'm glad it's there. And then she wrote, what do you think? I am looking forward to the discussion episode to hear everyone else's thoughts. And yes, so am I. These are, boy, I could not agree with Trisha and Irina more. So our last voicemail is coming from Alex, and here we go.
Hi, Heather. This is Alex, au fil des jours on Ravelry. And I'm just catching up with a bunch of episodes because I've been offline for about a month. And, of course, there's many things I might call or comment on. I was in Calais with my daughter. We were volunteering with, I guess you'd call them asylum seekers there. And yes, it's a city with lace factories. So there was something you said about lace a few weeks ago, but I don't quite have the thread of that. But the thing I did want to respond to is you asked about the Roma, and I don't have any personal direct experience with them, but I wanted to share this story from a fellow volunteer whom I met while I was in Calais. He's Belgian, and I asked him, what do you do when you don't come here to Calais to help these people? And he said, well, I work with people in Belgium, and one of the groups of people he works with are Roma people who are settled somewhat long-term. Many of them live in caravans and have been affected by the severe flooding in Northern Europe. And he said they face discrimination, being called to their face by slur words. One particular family whom he worked with had been affected by a flood, and they'd had to move out of their caravan because it was completely destroyed by the flood, and they were living in a much smaller caravan temporarily. And there's only one bed, and so this family of four was sharing a bed. And the school got wind of it, and instead of expressing sympathy, saying, in our regular Belgian culture, we don't approve of children sharing a bed with their parents and let us work with you on that. Instead of that kind of an approach, they just said, the social services are going to come take it away. Another time, the wife from this family was waiting to pick up her daughter from school and overheard the school director referring to her by a slur word for Roma people within her hearing. So those are two little vignettes that are hearsay of how Roma people are being treated right now today. And that's what I had to share. I hope that you're very well, Heather. Thinking of you a lot as I listen to these wonderful episodes and the scathing wit with which Jane Austen takes down Mrs. Elton has been quite a bit of fun. All right, take care, Heather. Bye-bye.
So I'm really glad that Alex wrote in about that whole topic, because I was finally able to speak with Professor Carol Silverman from University of Oregon, I think in Eugene. I'm putting links to her. One of the things she wrote to me in an email about this topic, and links to some articles and books that she recommended. I'll be talking more about this all later when I feel better, but I did want to make sure that I was able to follow up what Alex had to say with some more links for you in case you guys are interested in this topic that we've really never needed to, been able to talk about on CraftLit. Certainly we have seen groups of people mistreated and stigmatized and stereotyped in books before, but there is no question that the Roma people have been pretty universally and scandalously treated badly for the last 1,000 years. So I'm going to be really happy to get some information out to you guys about that in case you are interested. And with that, take a look at the show notes so you can see the authors and the links, and I'll be back with you guys next week. Take care. Have a great one. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. If you like what we do here, please consider liking and subscribing on iTunes, thumbs upping and subscribing on YouTube. You can visit patreon.com/craftlit and become a patron of this art. And you can always go to Linktree, linktr.ee/craftlit channel. And from there, you can get links out to all of the social media, all of the places that CraftLit lives. It's a nice hub that you can go to get all the stuff, all the good stuff. And I keep forgetting to mention, we also have a Facebook group with the loveliest group of people, as you might imagine. They're just awesome, makers and readers, and people who hadn't been readers before, but are now. I like that. All right, you take care of yourself. Have a great one. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.